Yeah. So anybody would like to read? We plan to finish 7 and 8 chapter today. Yeah. Okay. So I'll start and maybe you all can join later. Yeah. Okay. Chapter 7, How Not to Get a Job. Steve Jobs and Bill Gates never wrote resumes, went to career fairs, or struggled over achieving the perfect tone in the perfect first sentence of the perfect cover letter. Perfection doesn't play a role in life design, and there is certainly nothing perfect about the standard American model that 90% of job seekers use to go about looking for a job. A technique that some say has a success rate of less than 5%. That's right, 90% of us are using a method that might only work 5% of the time. Kurt had just completed a 2-year fellowship after getting his master's in design in a program at Stanford, on top of one he already had from Yale in sustainable architecture. When he and his wife Sandy discovered their first baby was on the way, they decided to relocate from Silicon Valley to Atlanta, Georgia, to start their family near Sandy's Falls. Kurt was finally ready for all those shiny degrees to go to work and provide him a career that he would love and that would pay the bills. Kurt knew how to think like a designer, but when he first arrived in Georgia, he felt he needed to prove himself and to his wife and his in-laws that he was serious about landing a job and fast. So he got busy, he did his homework, he carefully found job postings in the area that fit his resume well. He identified the most viable openings and submitted 38 job applications, along with his impressive resume and 38 individually crafted cover letters. He should have been beating the recruiters away with a stick and having more job offers than he could count, but it didn't work that way. Out of his 38 applications, Kurt received terse rejection emails from 8 companies and never heard anything at all from the other 30. 8 numbers and 30 nothings. No interviews, no offers, no follow-up calls. He was discouraged, disheartened, and more than a little concerned about how he was going to support his new baby when she arrived. And this was a guy educated at Yale and Stanford. Where does that leave the rest of us? Kurt's first approach is what most people do, what we call the standard model of job seeking. You look for a job listing on the internet or a corporate website. Read the job description. Decide whether that's the perfect job for you. Submit your resume and cover letter and wait around for a hiring manager to call you for an interview. And you keep waiting and waiting, still waiting. The problem is that 52% of employers have admitted that they respond to fewer than half of the candidates that apply. This standard model fails so much of the time because it is a model based on the mistaken idea that your perfect job is out there waiting for you. Mining the internet. The idea that somehow the internet is the be all and end all when it comes to looking for a job has gotten a lot of traction, but it's yet another dysfunctional belief. This particular dysfunctional belief leads to a lot of frustration with a side dish of demoralization. Most great jobs, those that fall into the dream job category, are never publicly listed. The most interesting startup jobs at the companies that will someday be the next Google or Apple are not listed on the internet before they are filled. Companies with fewer than 50 employees and no human resource departments are often exciting places to work, but they don't regularly post jobs. Large companies typically post their most interesting jobs internally only, invisible to most job seekers. Many other jobs are more not listed until an attempt has been made to fill them through word of mouth or social networks. You don't find the great jobs on the internet, no matter what your cousin's friend's brother told you about how he found his job. When you are job hunting on the internet, it takes an inordinate amount of time to craft a good cover letter, Modify your resume so it fits a particular job description, and manage and keep track of dozens and dozens of online applications. And after all that time and hard work, all you hear back is a whole lot of silence, deafening silence. Positive feedback is so infrequent with internet job hunting that an already unpleasant activity looking for a job gets even more so. Using the internet as your only job finding method is nothing short of masochistic. Masochistic. We don't recommend the internet as your primary job finding method, but there are thousands of jobs listed there every week. If you insist on trying to generate job options by mining the postings on the internet, we have a few insider tips for you to improve the chances that your internet search will be productive. Understanding job descriptions. We have to give the hiring managers of the world some credit here. They all have good intentions. It's just that the process doesn't work very well. Since advertising, interviewing, and hiring are repeated hundreds of times a year in average, mid to large size companies, they can't be allowed to take too much time. No one wants to miss out on a good candidate, so companies post jobs on the internet with fairly generic descriptions, looking for as many applications as possible. And remember, all of this hiring activity occurs in addition to the hiring manager's regular job assignment. So listings jobs accurately often doesn't get the time and focused attention it deserves. How many times have you thought, my resume is a perfect fit for this job description? So you applied only to get nothing back? Not even an acknowledgement that you have your resume that they have your resume. If you understand a couple of things about this process from an insider's point of view, it will make more sense and hurt a little less. The job description on the website is typically not written by the hiring manager or someone who really understands the job. The job description almost never captures what the job actually requires for success. To show you what we mean, let's take apart some components borrowed from or inspired by actual job descriptions that we pull from the internet. Most listings will have 2 or 3 sections that try to describe what the company is looking for. Section 1, the setup. This is the header of the job description, which often contains something like this. Company X is looking for a candidate for job X with the following: good written and verbal communication skills, strong analytical skills, excellent business planning and reporting skills, highly motivated and creative, demonstrated ability to juggle competing priorities and move quickly, strong initiative, bias for action, and a meticulously high attention to detail, innovative and market savvy, a passion for customers. These job qualifications are so generic that they really tell you nothing at all about the job. They are the attributes, not skills, of any good employee. They are also almost impossible to screen for by just looking at a resume. Section 2, Skills. The generic attribute sections is typically followed by a section with a ridiculously detailed list of very specific educational requirements and skills. Excellent candidates for the job will have the following experience: a bachelor's, master's, or PhD with 10 years experience doing exactly what we do in our company. 5 to 10 years of experience with some obscure legacy software program that we still use. 3 to 5 years of experience with some obscure job specific task that only people who work here know how to do. This part of the job description is always based on the skills of the previous job holder. It's historical. It does not take into account the possibility that the job will change in the future or that the very specific knowledge required would be irrelevant in 6 months when the company changes from one software platform to another. Nor does it account for the fact that office procedures and other methods of operation constantly evolve in any healthy growing company. Section 3. What makes a candidate special? Wait, we are not done here yet. Our favorite part of job descriptions is where the overworked HR person or office manager writing this thing accidentally decides to let the truth sneak into the description and adds qualifications like this role is not for the faint of heart and only those with a proven and successful track record should apply. We call this the you would have to be crazy to take this job qualifier. It really means this job really sucks and only people who have a proven track record of surviving sucky jobs should apply. Looking for superheroes with the ability to produce ridiculous amount of work on ludicrously tight deadlines. This superhero qualifier should be read as this job is impossible and no one can do it. On top of your ability to create elegant and inspiring solutions, you are insightful and persuasive when analyzing and discussing strategies with colleagues. We call this the wishful thinking qualifier. We have never met a job seeker who didn't think he or she was insightful and persuasive, elegant and inspiring. It's new that we all think of ourselves this way, but it's not much help when you are screening candidates. Again, we didn't make any of this up. We took these words right off of major corporate job websites. And we don't think this is a very smart way for companies to act. It's unlikely that this job description will attract only the best qualified candidates. But that said, there are ways to improve your chances of using internet job listings to find a job when you know how these things are created. Fit in before you stand up. Anybody would like to continue reading from here?
I can take my selfie.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you. Fit in before you stand out. To get considered for an interview, your resume has to end up on the top of somebody's pile. So, job number one is to fit in. This doesn't mean you should say anything about yourself that isn't true. It does mean that if you want to be discovered, you need to describe yourself with the same words that the company uses. It also means that you don't want to talk about your amazing multidisciplinary skills set yet. It will only confuse the fit evaluation. Most mid to large sized companies that use to internet, please scroll, to collect resumes, scan them into an HR or talent management database. The hiring manager never sees the original. Your resume will be discovered in a keyword search of the database, and the keywords used most often come from the job description. So, to increase your chance of being discovered, use the same words that they used in the first part of the job description. The specific skills that are listed as required are important, but often not a deal maker or breaker. Remember, their descriptions are written from the point of view of the current job, not the future. If you have those specific skills, great. Add them to your resume word for word. If you don't, list very specific skills that are similar. Find ways to describe those skills that might come up in a keyword search based on the job description. Finally, in the screening candidates phase of the hiring process, people are looking for a skills match. Once you get to the interview, you have to be very careful to craft a good fit story. If you are trying out for a softball team and the softball manager needs a pitcher, that's what he is looking for. Not a catcher, not a right fielder. Now is not the time to talk about collecting baseball cards, winning baseball trivia contests, and your hobby of making baseball shaped cakes. You just talk about pitching. In the screening phase of the process, do not talk about other amazing talents or bring up skills you possess that aren't part of the job description. You will come across as unfocused. You might sound like you are not interested in the job. Worse yet, you come across as a bad listener because you will be perceived as answering a question that hasn't been asked. There is a time to stand out later in the process, but if you do it in the beginning, you will be ejected from the candidate pool. Here is a summary of our tips to make your internet job search strategy more effective. Tip 1. Rewrite your resume using the same words used in the job posting. Say, good written and verbal communication skills, not I am a good writer and I communicate well. Say passion for customers, not customer centric attitude. You will improve your chance of being discovered in a keyword search, and be generous. Now is not the time for modesty. After all, who isn't highly motivated and creative? Hmm. Tip 2. If you have a specific skill that is posted as required, put it in your resume exactly the way it is written in the internet posting. If you don't have that skill, find a way to describe your skill set that uses the same words that will be found in a keyword search. Tip 3. Focus your resume on the job as described. Even if the job description isn't very accurate, this will increase the chance that your resume will show up in a search. Then focus on the skills that you can offer the company using their words as often as possible. Focus on what you can do for them, not on why this job works for you. Do not appear to be a generalist or a multidisciplinary person on your resume or in the first interview. Just focus on answering their needs. Once you have reassured them that you have the skills required, you can move on to impress them with your depth. That's how you stand out. Tip 4. Always bring a fresh, nicely printed copy of your resume to an interview. This will probably be the first time anyone will see the care you put into designing the darn thing. Maniselvi, could you please zoom it a little? Yeah, thank you. That's it. There are a couple of other things to be aware of if you want to practice safe surfing on the internet for jobs. Knowing about these can save you hundreds of hours of fruitless job hunting. The super job description syndrome. In our experience, it's quite common for people to post job qualifications that the folks currently in the job can't possibly meet. This managerial wishful thinking is a syndrome affecting most of the corporate America. The process goes something like this. Jane, the employee who quit, was a great program manager, but boy, I wish she had been better at X, Y, and Z. Now that she's gone, let's post a job for a super Jane and list all the things that Jane used to do and all the things we wish she had done and hope for the best. The super job description is posted, resumes are collected from keyword searches, and candidates are screened by phone. Interviews are scheduled, and candidate after candidate is interviewed and rejected because he or she is not a super Jane. This is especially true since no one who fits the new job description will work for what they used to pay Jane. Interview processes like these are essentially broken. They burn out both the interview team and the candidates, and nobody gets hired. As a job seeker, you want to find out as soon as you can if you are involved in an interview process like this. One way is to do some research and find out how long the job has been posted. In a good labor market, a job posting should never be open for more than 4 weeks, 6 at the max. Another is to find out how many people have already been interviewed. Both data points will give you a sense of what's going on behind the scenes. It's surprisingly not hard to find this. Just one, just ask one of the people on the interview team if they are in this situation, they know something is wrong. They are frustrated and they will probably tell you. And they will probably confess to wanting to leave the company. This happens more often than you think. In our experience, if more than 8 people have been through the ringer and no decisions have been made, the hiring process is probably broken. This is a sign that the company may not be a great place to work and you might want to walk quickly to the exit. The phantom job listing syndrome. This is another thing to be on the lookout for. Many companies have a rule that before they can hire someone for a job, they have to post a job description purposely to make sure that the best candidates are identified and hired. But many times, managers have already selected an internal or external candidate they want to hire for the job. Being good at getting around corporate bureaucracy, they write up a very detailed job description, one that matches their candidate's resume exactly, post the phantom job description. Wait the required 2 weeks, do a few cursory interviews, and then hire the person they wanted all along. Since the job description was written to match the pre selected candidate's resume, the hiring manager can prove that he or she hired the most qualified person. These job openings never really existed at all. But you may have seen one and applied, thinking it was real, and then never heard back from the company. Or worse, they wasted your time with a cursory interview and then never followed up. One way to tell if this is happening is to find out how quickly job descriptions churn on a company's website. If they are coming and going every week or two, this might be the reason. Warning: Cool companies and false positives. There is a particular issue to be aware of if you are applying to a cool company, a hot, growing, successful company that everyone wants to work for. Here in Silicon Valley, it's Google, Apple, Facebook, and Twitter. You may have heard of them. Cool companies can be found in all healthy industries. You probably know the ones in the industries you are attracted to. The problem is an oversupply of not only qualified candidates but really great candidates. These companies have far more top candidates than they have openings. Consequently, cool companies have no fear whatsoever about being able to hire terrific people. Their only fear is that they might hire a bad candidate. If a company erroneously concludes someone is a good candidate when the person is really just average, that's a false positive and it's a hiring nightmare. A bad hire is incredibly expensive and painful. It's tough to fire people these days. Employment litigation is at an all time high. And after you do, you still have to go through the whole search process again, and the important work you hired them for isn't getting done, and schedules are slipping, and money is being lost, and the list goes on and on. Companies will do anything they can to avoid false positives in hiring. This includes being quite tolerant of false negatives, misperceiving that someone's a bad candidate when the person is actually a great candidate. Mistakenly letting a great candidate go doesn't cost a cool company a thing. They have plenty of spare great candidates. So, letting a few spill on the ground is a much better mistake to make than hiring a bad candidate. Therefore, cool companies' hiring processes are sometimes rather draconian. Great people get rejected frequently and often with no idea why. It could happen to you. These companies often can get people who really are almost exactly like what their crazy job listing is asking for. I know we said that doesn't happen in reality, but cool companies distort that reality. So, if you are at all out of alignment with their desired candidate profile, or even just a few days late getting into line, you may have no chance, even if you are a great candidate who would be a terrific hire. They don't care. They don't have to. It's not meanness, it's just a smart business decision grown of necessity caused by their popularity and success. This is a gravity problem. You can't do anything about it. If you want to go after one of these cool companies, you are just going to have to play their game by their rules and hope you have got what it takes to win. Remember, they do want to hire great people, and the company may be a great place to work if you can just pull it off. If you want to work at a cool company, you really do want to get connected to people inside that company using the prototyping conversations we have discussed. A personal connection can help you greatly. You will still have to go through the hiring process, but you'll have some help. We are not saying you shouldn't try. Many employees at cool companies love their work, so it may be worth the effort. But be brutally honest with yourself about your chances and caveat emptor, the way it should be. One thing that you may have noticed is the conspicuous absence of job descriptions that sounds like this. Looking for candidates who would like to connect their work view to their life view. Second, looking for candidates who believe that good work is found through the proper exercise of their signature strengths. Looking for candidates with high integrity, the capacity to learn quickly, and high intrinsic motivation, we can teach you all the rest. In our perfect world, that's how it works. So here is how it goes. Companies post these tortured job descriptions that describe almost nothing useful about the job to the potential employee. Then they surround those descriptions with ridiculous comments about superheroes and courage. None of the job descriptions we found when we went looking on the internet seemed to address any of the issues we have been discussing. They didn't speak to the deeper issues of why we work or what work is for. It's a wonder that anyone would want to apply for one of these jobs. Remember, life designers do not work on gravity problems. We are not going to fix internet job postings. But don't worry, even though the job description posted on the internet are pretty much useless, they still represent a potential starting point in your conversation with the institution they represent. Awareness is key to life design, and this is true especially when you are designing your career. If you are aware of the process involved in hiring, in writing job descriptions, in reading resume, in interviewing from the employer's perspective, your success rate in getting a job offer goes way up. Empathy is a crucial element in design thinking, and having empathy and understanding for the poor hiring manager buried under a sea of resumes will help you know how to design a more effective job hunt. Effectiveness in getting hired involves a simple yet important design reframe. Dysfunctional belief: you should focus on your need to find a job. Reframe: you should focus on the hiring manager's need to find the right person. I'll just repeat this. Dysfunctional belief: you should focus on your need to find a job. Reframe: you should focus on the hiring manager's need to find the right person. The bottom line is that there is no perfect job that you perfectly fit, but you can make lots of jobs perfect enough. So, next chapter: designing your dream job. Dysfunctional belief: my dream job is out there waiting. Reframe: you design your dream job through a process of actively seeking and co creating it. So, if your dream job isn't on the front doorstep waiting for you when you come home, where do you find it? First of all, let's clarify that there is no dream job. No unicorns, no free lunch. What you can find out there are lots of interesting jobs in worthwhile organizations populated by dedicated and hardworking people trying to do honest work. There are good jobs in good places with good co-workers, and there are at least a couple of those good jobs that you can make close enough to perfect so you can really love them. Those are the dream jobs we can help you find, but almost all of them are invisible to you now because they are part of the hidden job market. As we said earlier, we don't recommend mining the internet for a job. In fact, in the United States, only 20% of all the jobs available are posted on the internet or posted anywhere for that matter. This means a full 4 out of 5 jobs that are available are not available through the standard model of job hunting. It's a staggering number. No wonder so many people feel frustrated and rejected when job seeking. How can you break into this hidden job market? Well, you can't. No one can. There is no such thing as breaking into the hidden job market. The hidden job market is the job market that's only open to people who are already connected into the web of professional relationships in which that job resides. This is an insider's game, and it's almost impossible to get inside that web as a job seeker. But it's quite possible to crack into the network as a sincerely interested inquirer, someone just looking for the story, not looking for the job. That's how this works. It is a wonderfully happy accident that the very best technique you can use to learn what kind of work you might want to pursue. Prototyping with life design interviews, as discussed in chapter 6, is exactly the best, if not only, way to get into the hidden job market is your field of interest once you know what you want. Kurt, the one with master's degree from Yale and Stanford and 38 carefully crafted applications with zero offers, was disheartened by his lack of success with traditional job finding methods. Realizing it was time to apply design thinking to his job search, Kurt stopped applying for jobs and began conducting live design interviews. He conducted 56 authentic prototype conversations with people he was genuinely interested in meeting. Those 56 conversations resulted in 7 different high quality job offers and one dream job, the real kind, not the fantasy kind, which he got. He now works full time for a company where he has flexible hours, a short commute, decent money, and work that is meaningful to him in the field of environmentally sustainable design. And he got access to the opportunities that produce those 7 offers not by asking for a job, but by asking for people's life stories 56 times. Remember, all you are looking for from a life design interview functioning as a prototype conversation is to learn about a particular kind of work or role to help you find out if you want at a later date to try to get a job doing that kind of work yourself. While conducting the conversation, you really are not after the job, you are after the story. But wait a minute, you say, you just told me how Kurt got 7 offers out of his 56 life design interviews. How would that happen? How does getting the story turn into getting the job? Good question, important question. The answer is surprisingly simple. Most of the time, the person talking to you does it for you. Kurt, you seem very interested in what you do here, and from what you have said so far, it sounds like you have talents we could use. Have you ever thought of working someplace like this? More than half the time, when the approach we are recommending results in an offer, they initiate it. You don't have to. If they don't start it for you, you can ask one question that will convert the conversation from getting their story to pursuing a job. The more I learn about XYZ environmental and the more people I meet here, the more fascinating it becomes. I wonder, Alan, what steps would be involved in exploring how someone like me might become a part of this organization? That's it. As soon as you ask, what steps would be involved in exploring how someone like me might become a part of this organization? Alan knows it's time to shift gears and start thinking critically about you as a candidate. It means he will start using his judging brain, but that's okay. It's gotta happen sometimes, so when the time is right, go for it. Note that you don't say, "Wow, this place is great. Do you have any openings?" For the reasons already mentioned, the answer is probably no. The what's the what steps would be involved in exploring question is open-ended, not yes or no, and invites possibilities far beyond just what's available today. And if you are asking it of someone like Alan, with whom you have established a connection and earned some regard, we hope he is going to give you a candid but supportive reply. In some cases, Alan may even say, "No, we don't have anything coming soon around here, but I think you might be a great fit in one of our partner companies. Have you met anyone at Green Space yet? I think you would like what they are doing." It happens all the time. By the way, in 6 of the 7 places where Kurt received offers, he didn't have to ask about openings. He just got the stories of the people he was interviewing and they asked him. All but one of the offers he got were for unlisted jobs, part of the hidden job market. The job that was listed was the one he ended up taking. But the listing wasn't posted publicly until after he had already scheduled a live design interview with the CEO, which went so well that by the time it was posted, he had it wired. Oh, the one more little tidbit about Kurt's story. The final interview at the company where he now works was with the 5-person board of directors. Their first question was, "Do you think you can be effective in establishing partner relationships within the sustainable architecture community here? After all, you have just moved to Georgia." Looking around the table, Kurt had the happy surprise of recognizing 3 of the 5 board members as people he had already met over coffee. He answered, "Well, I have already successfully reached out to 3 of you. I would be happy to keep doing that kind of outreach on behalf of this organization." Yeah, he nailed the interview, but before any of that, he had to do a lot of networking. Yes, anybody? Yeah. Mansi, you want to take from here?
Yeah, but if we want to read further, or do we want to stop here, Maniselvi? What do we do?
We want to read further, Mansi.
Okay, because it was 12:40, so people, the other world wide web. When Kurt really put his shoulder into the hard work of lining up lots of prototyping conversations, he had to reach out to all kinds of people to get connections and referrals to those whom he needed to meet. To get those referrals, Kurt had to network. He had to reach out to his contacts and their contacts, and he even had to reach out to strangers he had identified online. Then he asked those people whom he should be talking to, whose stories he should be getting if he wanted to learn more about sustainable architecture in the Atlanta area. It was hard. It was not Kurt's favorite part of the process. Actually, it's nobody's favorite part. But it worked. And it's absolutely necessary. Now, a lot of people have an instant aversion to the term networking. It conjures up images of slick, self interested people manipulating others to get things they don't deserve, or hucksters pretending to care about someone just for the purpose of using that person to get to someone else. These negative impacts, images, are powerful and reinforced by lots of characters in films and novels, as well as too many real people we have encountered or heard about. The good news is that although these stereotypes are not without real life examples, they are far the minority. Let us see if we can make it easier for you by giving a different image of networking. A reframe. Dysfunctional belief: networking is just hustling people, it's slimy. Reframe: networking is just asking for directions. Think about the last time you were walking down the street in your city or town and an unknown car pulled up slowly alongside you. The window rolled down and the driver or passenger leaned toward you with an obvious look of distress. Now, depending on where you live, your first instinct may have been to duck and take cover, run screaming, or pull out your can of pepper spray. But for most of us, the first inclination would be to offer help. The person in the car is lost and asking you for directions to the nearest coffee shop or freeway entrance to amusement park or antique stores. What do you do? Well, most of us will give them directions if we can. We help them out. Perhaps they ask you a little about your town, other places they might want to visit, or they ask you what the service is like at the coffee shop you have directed them to. They leave and you go on your way. How do you feel when they drive away with your directions and information? Do you feel used? Are you offended that they won't call you the next day or become your friend or on Facebook, or that they care more about getting to the nearest coffee shop than they care about you? Of course not. You are not friends. You haven't entered into a relationship. What you do feel is great about having helped another human being. Multiple studies confirm this. Most of us like being helpful. It's hardwired into our DNA. We are social creatures, and helping one another is one of the things that makes us feel best. Kurt didn't know his way around the sustainable architecture industry in Atlanta. You may not know your way around the nanotechnology community in Hong Kong, or the craft beer crowd in Wichita, or the emergency room nursing union in Seattle. What do? You ask a local for directions. Getting referrals to people whose stories would be useful to hear is just the professional equivalent of asking directions. So go ahead, ask for directions. It's no big deal. Network is more noun than verb. The point isn't to do networking, the goal is to participate in the network. Simply put, it just means to enter into a particular community that's having a particular conversation, such as sustainable architecture. Every domain of human endeavor is held together by a web of relationships between people, real people. That web is the fabric that undergirds, contains, and holds together that part of society. The Stanford network that we are a part of holds Stanford together. The Silicon Valley Network is the loose community of West Coast folk that allows tech entrepreneurship to flourish. Most individuals have both a professional network of colleagues and a personal network of friends and family. The most common way for people to be introduced across professional networks is by referrals from personal networks. This isn't favoritism, it's just communal behavior. The use of person or professional networks to initiate new people into a community's conversation is a good thing. The network exists to sustain the community of people getting the work done and is the only way to gain access to the hidden job market. Speaking of the World Wide Web, it turns out that networking is one place where the internet really can transform your job search. Use the internet not to get online job listings, but to find and reach out to the people whose stories you want to hear. Bella, one of our students who graduated a few years ago, just called to tell us how happy she was and how well this approach had worked for her. She had successfully figured out what she wanted to do, impact investing in the developing world, and designed her way to three great offers in that field, including the one she accepted with a boutique firm she had never heard of before, and it only took 200 conversations to do it. 200 in just 6 months. Really? Bella reported that she was able to find and reach out to well over half of those 200 by using Google and LinkedIn. Of course, she did her homework on individuals and organizations and networked to obtain a personal referral whenever she could, but smartly leveraging her use of internet tools made a huge difference. LinkedIn has utterly transformed our ability to find the people we're looking for. There are lots of books and online programs to teach you how to be effective using these tools. Some of the best ones are offered by LinkedIn themselves. Use them. If you become a superstar at using LinkedIn and Google, the internet can make a difference for you and will no longer be the black hole into which you submit countless applications. Are we continuing? Focus on offers, not jobs. Anyone wants to read from here?
Yeah, I may do.
Yeah, go on.
Focus on offers, not jobs. Every year, the National Association of Colleges and Employers, NACE, a non-profit established in 1956, compiles data on new college graduates and employment, such as the average salary of recent graduates, top skill employers are looking for, and also what graduates report as the top things they are looking for when it comes to a job. Guess what the first consideration was of the graduating class of 2014 when looking for a job? Nature of the work, salary, and the friendliness of co-workers come in second and third to complete this completely dysfunctional job seeker trifecta. The problem with this scenario is that there is no way to know the real nature of the work before you have gotten very close to actually getting the job. It is impossible since so many job descriptions are dysfunctional and inaccurate. Most people rule out a job as not being right for them before they have been applied and before they actually know what they are rejecting. It's a nasty chicken and egg problem that can severely shrink your potential opportunities. That is why the most important reframe when you are designing your career is this: you are never looking for a job, you are looking for an offer. Dysfunctional belief: I am looking for a job. Reframe: I am pursuing a number of offers. Now, this might not seem like a big distinction at first, but it is critical. It changes everything from what jobs you consider to how you approach, cover letters and resumes to how you interview, to how you close the deal, and ultimately get the opportunities you are looking for. The biggest impact of this reframe is on your mindset. It shifts you from being a person deciding whether or not you would take this job, which you know nothing about, to being a person who is curious to find out what kind of interesting offer you might be able to find in that organization.
It flips you from judging to exploring, from negative to positive, and that is a huge difference. When you are looking for a job, your focus is on that job, and your behavior toward getting that job becomes centered around convincing the institution to hire you and conveying to them that this is your absolute ultimate job, which you were born wanting. You have to convince the person or people in charge of filling that job that you and job description are the perfect fit, match made in heaven, can't live without each other, have to be together or else. Since you don't really know much about the nature of the work, you have to fake your enthusiasm to make the process work. In other words, you either lie or you don't apply, and nobody likes to lie. But when you are looking for an offer rather than a job, when your goal switches from getting one job to getting as many job offers as possible, everything changes. You don't have to be deceptive. You can be genuinely curious about the job because it is absolutely true that you would like the opportunity to evaluate an offer. It it is not a matter of semantics, it is a matter of authenticity. When you reframe the job search into an offer search, you end up being more authentic, energetic, persistent, and playful while you pursue your next position or opportunity. And ironically, this ends up making you more likely to get the offer. People don't hire resumes, they hire people. People they like, people who are interesting. And you know what types of people each of us is most interested in? Whether it is as a potential date or a potential employee, the ones who are most interested in us. It goes back to curiosity, one of the most important life design mindsets. Whether you are seeking your first job, changing careers, or choosing an encore career, you need to be genuinely curious. That is what prototyping conversations and prototyping experiences are all about, being open and curious about the possibilities. We call it pursuing latent wonderfulness. What this means is that you ask yourself, is there a 20% chance there is something interesting to me going on somewhere in this organization? Is there a 10% chance? If the answer is yes, then don't you want to find it? Of course you do. And that desire to find it allows you to show genuine curiosity and a willingness to pursue the latent wonderfulness in an organization you may have unnecessarily dismissed outright as not being a fit for you. You can't know the nature of the work until you have conducted further investigation, until you have pursued the offer. You can't know it from a faulty job description. You can't know it because of preconceived notions about what it is like to do that job or work for that company. You rarely know too much about a job before you get the offer. So pursue all the offers you can. All you need is the possibility that one of them might be a fit. That is it. Just a possibility. And maybe someday, when the NACE does its annual study of what college graduates are looking for in a job, the number one thing is not going to be the nature of the work. It is going to be latent wonderfulness. It is going to be more about possibility than preconception. The Job charming fairy tale. Kurt entered into genuine conversations and he found a good job that he has been able to build into a great job. You can do the same. We know this is hard. We know this is a lot of work and is sometimes scary, but it is also incredibly interesting and is the only way we know to crack the hidden job market. To some degree, it is also a numbers game. The more connections you make, the more prototypes you run, the more opportunities will turn into offers. Consider the alternatives: 38 applications for 0 offers, 56 conversations for 7 offers, and a great professional network. Which approach do you like better? It is your call. It is more than possible to use design thinking to get your first job, transform your current job, design your next job, and create a career that integrates your work view and your life view. In fact, we recommend it because there is no job charming coming to rescue you. The idea that your dream job already exists, fully formed, just waiting for you to find it, is a fairy tale. You design your really pretty, terrific, and surprisingly close to a dream job. The same way you design your life by thinking like a designer, by generating options, by prototyping, and by making the best choices possible, and by learning to live into those choices. Yeah, do we have
Thank
to
you,
stop?
Sumant. Yeah, we'll stop here for today. So
Wow, this is the
it's
second last. How many chapters are there total?
11.
10? Acha,
11,
okay,
and then
wow.
there is, I think, a final summary kind of conclusion chapter also after that. So almost 12. So we
Oh,
might,
wow. Covered 2 today, right?
yeah, because the seventh one was smaller and the both of them flowed together. So that's,
Linked, yeah, they're linked together,
yeah.
yeah.
So choosing happiness will take tomorrow and we'll try to close it. Yeah. So let's look back at whatever we read and just quickly share the takeaways. Yeah. Yeah, anyone?
Can I go?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So I think this one is a wonderful read, and this is something that I recently went through. I switched my job from Amazon to other company to a technical role, and again, I didn't do it mindfully though, but I tried searching with all the internets and everything for 4 or 6 months, but then only and only through the network I could able to reach out to the potential, I mean, the job that I'm right now doing. So I could able to relate a lot of, readings today. So that's my take, and I think it's more of a relatable thing. And I'm open for. I mean, I was not a person who was super networking, super open for social conversations, but that changed me for being more social and also have a professional approach for everything and with a human touch. I mean, like we have to converse in a way that you have to by not professionally but also as a person that you are. So that's a really good reading for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Pravina, to start off the discussion with a very positive note and sharing your experience with us. Yeah. Anything specific which this book talked about how not to find a job? Did that really work for you? Like, whatever the keywords were there, did you actually apply basis that, or how did you?
Exactly. So when they say about the exact words that you have to use for the job search that they want, so I use ATS Friendly, and I used to create resumes for each company in a way that recruiters want us to apply for. But
Okay.
what actually worked is that even after doing so much, I couldn't able to get the right offer, and even if I get, I couldn't able to go up to the 5 interviews that is scheduled. The only way that actually worked for me is through LinkedIn. I kind of connected with 3 or 4 employees who are already in the team, and they showed me, I mean, they guided me how to crack the interview. Rather than technical help, they just told how the company environment is and how how we have to adapt to the company, like the company's principles and ethics. So I focused on it, and I could able to crack. And for me, it is semi-tech to a technical role. So it was quite hard for me to, gather up all the skill set and make sure that I am approaching with the same intention that they want to hire for. So that kind of worked for me. And post that, I could able to get lot of offers as well, having this kind of approach. But it'll take some time to go to that stage where the offers comes to you, because it's again a reading skill set and everything. So yeah, it kind of worked.
Great, great. I think whatever you shared is there in the book from the
Yeah,
LinkedIn,
I could
from the
able to relate a lot.
networking, the words, and the understanding whether you fit the thing rather than the other way around, how the environment is, whether you are able to manage. Yeah. So
Yeah,
great example. Thank you for sharing.
thank
Anybody
you.
else would like to share?
Yeah.
So many insightful depths were there. Eye-openers, they were for me, like the keywords and phantom job, cool company, and there is no any dream job as such. Uh, Rather, you may have to find these that flexible hours are there, that short commute is there, or decent money is there. You can, and how to design our life. Uh, so many, uh, so many things were there that I liked today. That doing networking plus the homework of using the internet, that works wonder in designing our careers. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Suman, for your additions.
Yeah. For me, I'm not currently in any job searching phase from a long time, but I feel this I could relate with. I have been working in some MNCs before, and I could relate with what they shared about those how the JDs are also manipulated at times, right? Like because the job seekers do want their own candidates, or sometimes they're so vague, and all of those things I could totally relate with very much, and it was very insightful. I feel these two chapters that we read today are perfect, or I feel are very much highly recommended for any new candidates, or any person who is looking for a job, and that this will be very helpful, I feel. So the way they have given it, and the way they have given strategies to look for jobs, search for jobs, that was very, very beautiful and insightful, I felt. And I remember I had done one of the courses where business related course, where he had actually taught how you have to select your candidates also. So there was a right framework to select a candidate, because when we don't have a proper clarity about whom we want to work with us, we end up hiring wrong people, and then we end up into having a lot of hustle around it. So that part I just got reminded of as they shared, right? Like when there is no clarity, and this was also very insightful, that when you see a job listing for more than 6 weeks or 8 weeks, then there is a problem in the system somewhere. So I think I never, like, whenever I applied for jobs, I applied very vaguely. I felt, touchwood, I landed up with good jobs many a times, but I feel this approach and this thinking and learning is very crucial, and someone having this idea and awareness would really be in a very good position in the job market, I would say.
Yeah, thanks, Mansi, for your points. Indeed, indeed, this is very relevant for people who are searching job, and not only jobs but also are thinking of moving forward after this job, and how do they shape their career as well. Yeah. So today's actually mota what I could understand from both these chapters is that, one, you have to understand what you are seeking. So the life view and the work view will actually give a clarification on that. Anjali, you want to add anything?
It's okay, Maniselvi. You go ahead. I'll speak later.
Okay. So, so understanding what you want or what is that you can offer, and then understanding the game of how the reality works or how the world works, and then see how we can fit, be a good fit there. Second, I think it talks about our understanding that we are qualified so and so, so definitely there is a great job outside, but then we have to create that fit, and or we have to understand that how we actually can level up to the roles that are being offered for our kind of a background. So there is also a skill and strength emphasis which this book brings us to, and we have to have an understanding, or we need to gain that kind of skills as well. Yes, networking, I think it brought out the reality of how we look at networking versus how we can actually make use of it. Because net what happens, even if we say networking, it will not help, but it really helps, and that's how actually we are moving around, be it getting things for, maybe mundane things, or it may be just a job reference, or any kind of a contract, or even any kind of business dealings. Many things happen through networking. So if we take it in the right spirit, I think definitely that will help us all. Yeah. And yes, the prototype and experiment will help when we understand that we have different career path, and let's not restrict ourselves with it. So it's basically broadening a perspective, that look for possibilities, look for how explore for perspectives on work and roles, and how you can match that, or how you can broaden that. So we just try to see from our simple perspective. I think we need to fine tune it with the reality that we are facing today. Now basically when you look for a job, then we never actually look from a life view perspective. So I even like the way the work life and life view is also being emphasized here again and again. And it's basically that we connect well, like even Pravina said, that we understand how the background works, what is the environment of the company, what are the basically what is the value system that works there well, whether that suits you or not, and basically the work culture, and what you can expect. If you have a vague idea, there is a fair idea of what is being offered to you and what you can offer in return, I think that will help us make a better decision, at least on the job front. Yeah, Anjali, please go ahead.
Almost most of the important learnings have been covered, and everyone has pointed out very well. I'll just add a few things. So first thing, what struck me was, see the time period of the job opening. And as the author said, it should not exceed 8 weeks, I believe. So it is to be known that if there is so much of time, they have already, the opening is still there, so there is some issue over there. So we have to be very careful, very mindful in approaching that. And second important thing, like for the freshers, I have seen children, they just land up to just pick up any job with seeing the money. They don't go for the job details, they don't look into the job profile, what they are searching for. But as soon as the placement comes, they just look at the amount, the my salary offered, the package offered. So they have to be very careful in selecting that, because that is where they are laying the foundation of their future career, and designing their life starts from that point itself, because it is very difficult to switch to another job, or start from scratch anything if they want later on also, if they are not satisfied with it. The things they need to really consider is the job profile, the work life culture, what is it, and as you rightly pointed out, the work view and the life view, that is important, which children doesn't understand. So that is to be taken care by the parents or the mentors. They have to guide them, that it is important that what culture is there. I have seen the US companies or the UK companies, they have so much of difference, mainly because of the time zone and their culture, the kind of atmosphere they have now, the work culture, it is very different, and everybody doesn't adjust well into those. So I think UK is still better than the US, maybe because of the time zone, and US people have more of the nighttime working. So everyone, although they offer good money, but they exploit. Sometimes I feel they exploit. And for us, if we really want a healthy life along with the work, we have to be very careful in doing all the research, what kind of work culture is there, the timings and the kind of profile, though, because many times Even if they write just one designation, the work is different. So go into the details. Do that research work either through networking. Go on LinkedIn or whatever social media or whoever contact you as possible. Just go contact the details and dig out all the details, the kind of work they have to do. Actually, the employers are expecting. So those things is to be researched well before picking up any job. And that could be done only by networking, only could be, or if not possible, search on the social media. Just go and pick out all the past posts or whatever they have done about the company. Those details have to be taken there. Those details have to be considered before picking a job. That is very important. So I feel key before switching or before, because many times no, we are not clear ki exactly this is what we want. Money seems to be everything, and then later we start getting bored, or we start feeling that this is not the kind of thing which excites me. This is not the thing which is really I'm looking forward in pursuing for a longer time in my life to till my retirement. So they have to go for a career change, and there are so many opportunities and there are so many various fields. So many times people get confused, and also because of the pressure of family or pressure of the financial pressure, they land up taking any job. So one more thing I liked was they have to look for an offer, not for the job. So that is like research. It is like there are various offers from which you have to pick. It is not that you have to pick a job, whatever is in the market. So those things I really like the way the author has written. That's all from my side.
That was very beautifully shared. You actually summarized the whole chapter very nicely than how I would have understood it otherwise. So thank you for that. I just want to have I have one query. If anyone can shed some light on that. Uh, what do you understand about the encore career that is mentioned in the book so far? Like, because I don't know if I really understood this concept very well. So just wanted to understand if anyone can just share something. Encore is what? Like when we are changing careers? Because today there were both the options, like first time job seekers, changing careers, and encore career. So I just got a little confused. Where you are merging two streams of career, or
It
what
is
is it
it
exactly?
is something that you want to pursue till the end, till the retirement time, like in the later half of the life. Something like that.
So how is it different than changing careers? Then
See,
I got confused.
initially, Mansi, people, they just look at a steep growth, their profile, the growth in their career. The career graph should be steep, and that is possible only when they are switching jobs frequently, right? But later on, they want a stableness, they want a stability in their career, they want to live their life with the family, so they are looking for a different into a different
So
avenue where they're
something that
And
is
Mansi,
more
it was mentioned the second career, like we did the activity that
like a
other than,
meaningful, like where you find more meaning
yes,
out of
yes,
your job, right?
yeah, and
Acha.
one
I thought
that Ali,
similarly, but I was a bit confused on that. Yeah.
yeah, Ali had lost the job, her job career came to an end. Now she was trying to pursue what to do next. I think that was the core career.
Yeah,
it is
yeah. Now
mainly
got it.
focused, it
I
is
thought same, but I wanted clarification if I have got it right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone or Maniselvi, you want to, how would you like to close it, or if you want to give some summary or something?
Yeah, that's it. We will close for today. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Okay,
I've
thank you.
posted the reading summary. I'll just take